if you think that's all, no, it's not. There is a lot more coming.
The Dutch oak has arrived.
What's up guys, Wesley Vissers here, and I am here with the video that is most requested by far on my Instagram. How do you make the victory meal? Just look at it. I'm gonna explain to you exactly how this incredible creation, causing muscle gain or even fat loss, is created. Let's check it out. Alright, so the first ingredient we're gonna put into the victory meal is of course the base, the rice flour. Right here I have 100 grams of rice flour. I'm gonna put that in a nice big bowl. I recommend like a glass bowl or a stone bowl like this one. Now the rice flour, in America we all know cream of rice, so you can use that one. In Europe you can choose any rice flour except the ones designed for babies, as those actually are designed to stay thin. And we want volume in this meal. And of course there's always the option to use the ESN designer rice pudding for your victory meal. But this is the base, and now we're going to add in some other dry ingredients. The first of which is going to add the flavor to this victory meal. Designer flavor powder. You put in a few scoops of that. Now 1 scoop is about 3 grams, and I like to put in 2 to 3 scoops depending on how much of the rice flour you put in. For example, if you put only 50 grams, you can get away with 1 or 2 scoops, but I like the full intense flavor, in this case of milky hazelnut. Tastes incredible. Then the next ingredient is going to be psyllium husk. One thing we want in this meal is volume. So, psyllium husk is a fiber which bumps up the amount of volume and the water this meal can absorb. So normally you would do just 1 of these spoonfuls, but in my case I'm used to this, so I'm gonna add another one here to bump up the volume even more, and it's also good for digestion. Then the next dry ingredient is going to be some cinnamon. ESN also has Ceylon cinnamon, which is the best form, but this adds flavor, it's healthy, keeps blood sugar lower, good for insulin sensitivity, so it's always a good addition to add. The next ingredient is going to be baking powder. This, alongside the psyllium husk, will bump up the volume of this meal, because we are going to put it in a microwave later, and if you combine heat with the baking powder and water, it'll transform into a nice airy substance, which you will see later. And just add about 2 to 3 grams of this. And then one of the most important aspects of this whole meal, the Himalayan pink salt. Don't forget this ingredient, because this will either break or make this meal. Without the salt, it'll taste bland. You won't be adding the hydration benefits or the electrolytes, so I'm gonna put in around 15 grinds of this. If you are not used to salt or are salt sensitive, you might start with 5 grinds, but trust me, without salt, it's not the same. So, and 1 more for good measure, just like that. Now, incredibly important guys, we have right here a kitchen tool called a whisk. We are gonna whisk all these ingredients together until it's like one color. So right now you have the white, you have brown, you have different kinds of colors. You want to mix this up until we get one blend of colors, so that everything is blended up to perfection. Why? Because this prevents any clumps from forming. You want a nice smooth consistency here, and then boil some water.
Are you going to do an actual off-season, or how is this off-season is going to look like for you?
So since the RL Classic UK, I still had about 200 days until the Mr. Olympia, which will be on the 12th of October. So this can't be a true full off-season, but it will be the most amount of days up until now, since I think 2 years, that I can build some muscle. And we've seen improvements since the Olympia last year, Romania, and the RL Classic, where I had no off-season basically, but still was able to make improvements. So this is still going to be like an improvement season, not a full off-season where you get up there in body fat percentage, but still, you know, pretty much good enough of an off-season to make the progress needed to battle the one and only Chris Bumstead. Okay, we've got the boiling water here. The ratio in the rice flour to water to be safe is 1:4. So you add 4 times as much water, but we're gonna take a little bit of risk here because we added psyllium husk, the baking powder, so we're gonna add 500 mils of water and you will see the incredible result. However, do make sure that you do this correctly. Oh yeah. So make sure that every edge is filled up and disappears under the water, just like that. And then the whisk comes into play once again. Make sure to whisk this up very, very nicely until all the powder, all the clumps, everything disappears. As you can see, it's already become quite thick. And this really depends every single time. You know, we can even add a little bit more water here. Because I like the volume, guys. I like the hydration, just like this. Because we're also going to put this in a microwave still. But this is where the whisk comes in. A lot of people say, oh, mine is clumpy or mine stays runny. It's because not everything has been mixed to perfection. So this is why you gotta keep mixing and keep mixing and keep mixing until it's whisked to a perfect, consistent blend. Like a mass that is very smooth, just like this. And it is quite thick, as you can see already. So this means that the time it needs in a microwave can also be quite short. So if it's still a little runny, you might go for 4 to 5 minutes, but we only need to do 2, you know, I think 3 minutes will be good to create that incredible consistency of this meal. All right, put it in the microwave. We're gonna go for 3 minutes. And there is baking powder in there. So I'm using a bowl that's quite high, but if you're using a bowl that's not high enough, it might actually start to spill over. This is something you want to take into account. So make sure that the bowl you get is of high quality, either glass or stone, and nice and high. And if you don't have it at home, make the investment because it is worth it. Now, in the meantime, we can actually create the whey drip, consisting of designer whey. Now this, guys, is a very important aspect of this meal. Right here, I have a chocolate flavor designer whey because I love the chocolate whey drip, as if you're putting molten chocolate on top of your victory meal. So I like to put in at least 65 grams of designer whey. And depending on your own goal, you can put it a bit less, but you can never get enough protein in, guys. That's, you know, we all know that. Put it back to 0. And now the most important thing is, the trick is to make sure you're adding in less water compared to the powder. In the meantime, we're gonna check if it's doing okay, it's doing perfect. But I put in 65 grams of designer whey in here, and we're gonna put in 60 mils of water to ensure it is nicely thick and nicely drippy, because it's of course the whey drip. So very carefully put in about 60 mils. So you want to do this nice and slow to ensure you're not spilling over, because once you spill over, it is over. Now you're gonna mix this up just like the victory meal itself and ensure that the water and the powder will be perfectly mixed into a nice smooth blend of water and powder. So you don't want to see any powder left in the bowl. And just look at this, guys. It already has a nice whey drip consistency. Now you might want to add this in the fridge for just a few minutes to make it a bit more thick. So let's do that right now. The victory meal is done, and look at this. Just look at that. Now you can see the edge. Edge has a bit harder texture to it. The center is still nice and moist. This is the perfect consistency you want. It's kind of jiggly because of the psyllium husk, but that also enhances the volume, obviously. Now it's still very hot, so you actually want this to cool down for about 5 to 10 minutes. You can put it in the fridge or just leave it here. And you know, whenever I make this before the workout, I just leave it in the microwave the entire workout, so it's still nice and warm when you get back. But depending whether you like it cold or warm, you can either put it in the fridge for like an hour or just eat it 15 minutes later. But now we're just going to wait a little bit until this cools down, until we go to the next step.
Is the criteria of classic physique changing? Like judges seem to favor your physique nowadays, which does have more resemblance of the bodies of the 70s. How do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's like a two-pronged answer. So yes, I do think it's changing a little bit, because obviously I beat a lot of guys who had better, subjectively better flow, like a tinier waist or lats that are attaching lower. But at the same time, you do have to have that ultra conditioning and fullness, which they didn't have back in the day. So it's kind of a combination. Like if you do have that 70s look, that 70s physique, combined with the modern conditioning and fullness, then I think you're very close to unbeatable if you match those things. But at the same time, I have received feedback that my legs still need to grow, and back in the day the legs were even smaller than mine are now compared to the upper body. So that still is a critique that I'm getting that I wouldn't have gotten if I was doing bodybuilding in the 70s. So it's a combination of both. I am able to hit all those true classic 70s poses, and the presentation is from that era, but the physique itself, like the conditioning, the proportions, and the fullness, have to be with a modern twist to be able to beat those incredible guys at the Olympia. This has cooled down sufficiently now, so now the next step is to get some frozen fruit as a nice cold layer on top before putting on the whey drip. Here's about 200 grams of berries. I like berries because they are digesting very easily. They contain fibers, they're nice and colorful, and the colors in fruits and vegetables tell you something about the intensity of the health factors they have, like how much phytonutrients are in there, the vitamins and minerals. So you always want to pick several colors in terms of fruit and vegetables, but for now we're sticking with blackberries and strawberries. So we're going to put that on top of the Victory meal base. So just about in the middle, just like this. You might want to press it a little bit down so it stays in place. And now, as you can see, we have a nice base to cover with the whey drip. So we're going to put the whey drip on top of here. Obviously, this just came from the fridge, so thicken it up a little bit, and as you can see, the consistency is just incredible. Now we're going to put this right in the middle, on top of the Victory meal. And look at that, guys. Look at the consistency of this. This is what makes this meal the Victory meal. Not only the carbs from the rice flour and the fruit and the flavor power giving an incredible flavor, but on top goes the essential protein source, the whey drip, guys. And this not only looks delicious, but trust me, it is. Many, and with many I mean hundreds of people, have shared their Victory meal with me, and they all unanimously say, that tastes good. All right, this is the incredible Victory meal. All right, guys, thanks for watching this how to make the Victory meal. Let me know what your creation is like, what you like, which flavors you like. This is a chocolate flavor, but there are many more, like white cookies and cream. You have cinnamon cereal, even carrot cake, and many more designer whey flavors. You can experiment with this a lot. So let me know how your creation went and what you think about it. And do you want to see more of these kinds of videos? As you know, I have many different meal prep ideas and different kinds of meals you can see on my Instagram stories at Wesley Vissers, such as the golden rice or pulled chicken, pulled beef, etc. How I like to prepare those meals. Let me know down in the comments exactly what else you want to see. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more of these kinds of videos. And of course, also don't forget that notification bell, because you don't want to be the last to see a video like this. And of course, don't forget to stay golden.